Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. Dealing with a covert narcissist is different from dealing with somebody who's narcissistic. Most of the information out there, the advice that's out there, most of it is just for dealing with people who are narcissistic. And it's good information, but there's a problem. So you see, covert narcissists don't appear narcissistic. There's a difference here when you're dealing with somebody who is a covert narcissist. The material that's out there is helpful, it's useful, and a fair amount of it will apply to your situation. But today, I want to talk about one of the biggest and toughest differences when you are dealing with a covert narcissist. I'm Renee Swanson, your host of the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm an advocate for survivors of covert narcissistic abuse. I do offer both group and individual coaching sessions. You can find all of that information on my website, which is covertnarcissism.com. Now, the biggest and toughest difference when you are dealing with a covert narcissist is that they don't seem like they're a narcissist. They don't portray narcissistic traits, the stereotypical narcissistic traits. They're just not there. And covert narcissists, they're not in your face yelling and screaming and putting you down and calling you names. They're not physically threatening you. They're not cheating on you. They're not hitting you. These are the things that people think of when they think of a narcissist. But covert narcissists are not blatantly narcissistic. In fact, overall, they seem like a really good person. They present as caring, kind, generous. They're involved in the community. Maybe they're involved in the church. They're loved by everyone around them. They seem like a great catch. In fact, they seem to be the complete opposite of a narcissistic person. And that right there is the hardest and toughest difference in dealing with a covert narcissist. So, when you're dealing with a narcissistic person, what is the daily life like? People describe it as turbulent, disorienting, suspicious, accusatory, antagonistic, full of extreme ups and downs. They're highly reactive. They're overly dramatic. You're dealing with lots of drama and extreme emotions. There's open jealousy. There's open accusing you of cheating. There's these highs and lows that are just explosive, this explosive rage. And then, great makeout sessions to make up. It is anything but boring. Well, this is often not the case with a covert narcissist. These are not the things that show up. In fact, it can seem like the exact opposite of this. Mellow, secure, stable, uneventful. There aren't the highs and lows, not at the beginning of this relationship, not like what I'm describing with a narcissistic person. This relationship with a covert narcissist can seem quite boring. And I don't know about you, but when I get on an airplane flight, I like boring. Like, that really appeals to me. I don't want, ups and downs. I mean, the one that's planned, the takeoff and the landing, but I don't want the little bumps along the way. I want everything to be boring and smooth. Well, that's how life can feel with a covert narcissist. It seems, like I said, like the exact opposite of a narcissist. When you Google who is a narcissist, you get things like self-centered, boastful, attention-seeking. Well, let's talk about this. Because, again, covert narcissists present as kind of the opposite of this. In fact, exactly the opposite of this, especially at the beginning and really for quite a few years. I have people that have been 10 and 20 years into these relationships and had no idea why they felt the way they felt. So let's look at this. Narcissistic people are self-centered. Okay. But covert narcissists often volunteer at church. They give to their local charity. They participate in helping neighbors. They coach the youth soccer team. They look like a very generous and giving person. They're giving of their time and their energy. They're eager to look good, but it comes out as generosity and care. You see, they know what they're, supposed to do or what the right things to do are, and they want to look like that good person. And you believe it. You don't enter this relationship thinking that they're lying to you. You enter it believing it. Another definition or thing that you find when you research narcissism is boastful. That a narcissist is, outwardly talking about all the grand things they've done, and they're the life of the party, and they are the loudest voice in the room telling everybody about their wonderful achievements. Well, covert narcissists are not quite like this. In fact, again, they're just like the opposite. They, might be the ones sitting in the corner. They're more reserved. They're more insecure. They actually might spend a lot of their time pumping you up, telling you how wonderful you are and telling other people how wonderful you are. They do not come across as boastful. They do typically have a lower self-esteem, so they're not confident. They're more self-conscious and more cautious in group settings. They're more reserved, where the narcissist will be more explosive and impulsive in their behaviors. A covert narcissist will be more guarded and reserved. They're just not as bold. They're unassuming, and they avoid that spotlight. So rather than boastful, they present as, again, back to the boring, that neutral, calm relationship that maybe you were looking for. But underneath, really, that is that they're resentful and that they're brooding. Everyone else is getting the good life that they deserve. So while they're not out there demanding that everybody give them their attention, they certainly want it and feel like they deserve it. They might even be focused on their own failures and how they're never good enough and they're so unappreciated. Again, the opposite of boastful. They can tell you and really focus on, how bad of a person I am, and I just can't ever get anything right. Woe is me. And instead, you're the one pumping them up and feeding them all of your attention. Again, this is the exact opposite of a narcissist. They don't come across as the star of the room. Rather, you feel sorry for them. They seem beaten down and underappreciated. Well, what about attention seeking? I'd already said they often sit in the background. They avoid that spotlight. Well, this is definitely not the stereotypical narcissist. The narcissist, they demand the spotlight. But covert narcissists, they lack the confidence of these overt counterparts. They're introverted and avoidant. Rather than seeking attention, they sit in the corner and they stew. They believe that they are misunderstood, and they hang on to that victim mode. They sit there and they think to themselves, sure, this person gets all the attention. They're so fake and so stupid. No one really knows the truth about them. They sure have everyone fooled. People are just so dumb. This is the arrogance that's coming out inside of them, but it's not what you see from the outside. It's not what other people see from the outside as well. They see them sitting in the corner and kind of keeping to themselves, and so they look like the quiet, introverted person. You see, covert narcissists don't go out and engage in life. They sit back and they wait for life to come to them. And then they're mad when it doesn't. Now, I do want to take a minute here and say I am talking about the extreme covert narcissist here. There are a lot of people who are a mixture. You might have some overt traits that are coming out for somebody who is dominantly covert narcissist. So if you're sitting here thinking, boy, that doesn't describe what I've lived and the relationship I've been in, that's okay. Because like everything else in life, there is a spectrum to this. So covert narcissists, they don't go out and grab life. They sit back and wait for life to grab them. They don't go out and invest themselves into people and activities. They wait for people to invest themselves into them. You see, somebody who's more overtly narcissistic, they live life on the edge. They're experiencing excitement. They go out and grab life. Covert narcissists, no. They sit in the shadows. They watch life go by, but then they're mad that it didn't include them. It's a very self-fulfilling prophecy. When they don't go out and, grab life like what I'm talking about, they wait for life to come to them. But then when it doesn't, they're mad about it. Then they say, see, nothing ever goes my way. Well, yes, because you're not investing in your own life. They get mad that people don't, participate in their life, and they sit back and wait for people to come, but they don't invest in their lives, the other people's lives. Again, it's a very self-fulfilling prophecy when they sit there and go, people don't like me. Well, I don't think you like people. You see, they don't participate in their kids' activities to build that relationship, but they want the kids to participate in their activities. And then they say things, well, like the kids never want to do anything with me. Well, yeah, but you don't want to do anything with them. This is where narcissistic people are so different than what we're describing as covert narcissism. They resent the world because they see others as having a better life than they do. Other people are getting what they deserve. I had a better relationship with our boys, is what I got told by him all the time, that I had the better relationship and that he didn't understand why the boys didn't want to do anything with him. But when I would, invest my time going to, parks or watching the kid movies or going to, Chuck E. Cheese and doing all the things that we do with our kids, yeah, that wasn't how I would choose to spend my time as an adult, but I invested in my kids. And that's what he didn't see. He wouldn't invest in them, but then he was mad that they didn't want to spend any time with him. He would say, well, no one appreciates me and what I do because you don't do anything. This is such a self-fulfilling prophecy. People don't appreciate them, but there isn't anything to appreciate. People do leave relationships with them. The covert narcissist feels like no one ever wants anything to do with them, and they're not wrong because of how difficult they make things with everyone. When we are reading and listening to descriptions of a narcissist, it can seem like the complete opposite of what we are living. I have so many people, in fact, come to me and say, I was married to an overt narcissist. This was definitely a, narcissist that I was dealing with. And I got out of that relationship. But when I started this new relationship, I was so happy. I had the complete opposite of what I had been living before. This was totally different. And yet here they are talking to me 10, 15, 20 years later. They said, I realize now that there was no difference. I'm right back in the same place. Only this time, it's with a covert narcissist. So why do they seem to be the complete opposite? Because their narcissism is so hidden. Is it still there? Yes, absolutely. They are arrogant, entitled, superior, abrasive, antagonistic, manipulative, all the narcissistic things. But their arrogance doesn't show the same way. They will certainly tell you how much better they are than everyone else, including you. They will certainly show you that you had better listen to every word they say and follow their every instruction. But they don't show this to the world. Their entitlement will not show up publicly, but they will give you all the details about how they deserve all the good things in life, how they should be respected, how they should be appreciated, how they should be rich. They are more deserving and more important than anyone else that you know. Antagonistic? You can tell them that the sky is blue and they will oppose you just to oppose you. No, it looks a little bit purple today, just to be sure that you are wrong. And you, the one that they chose to be their partner, is the one they want to prove wrong the most. Did they choose you to be their partner or their built-in opponent? One of the things I hated most was when my husband would try to fix things. Now, I'm not talking about a broken sink. He actually did a fairly good job with that kind of stuff. I'm talking about when he tried to fix things emotionally. When he tried to fix a broken relationship between him and either one of our boys. It was a train wreck. Overt narcissists, they openly do not care. They don't really jump in to try to fix things because it's not their problem. If the kids are upset with them, well, that's the kids' fault. They need to get over it. They don't care. They're just going to move on. But a covert narcissist, they're carrying that good image of being a good and wonderful parent and a caring person. So they're going to go and try to make things right because they know that's what they're supposed to do. But what does this look like? Their attempt at making things right is explaining in even more detail how you did everything wrong. making it more clear that it's your fault. Maybe you didn't understand me the first time, so my attempt at making things right is I'm going to make sure you know how wrong you were. I'm going to make sure you understand. It might even, they might even let you know that, I've forgiven you for what you did, but I'm still going to make sure you know how wrong you were. They might conclude by telling you how much I love you and that I'm only treating you this way because I care about you. All of these things that they say, you walk away feeling like a total failure, feeling totally worthless. They lay all of the emotional weight on you. And you're carrying all of it, but you don't even know it. You're carrying all the responsibility on your shoulders and you have no idea. It can leave you a sobbing mess. It can leave your kids a sobbing mess. And then they come and try to comfort you after they're the ones that hurt you. And they'll come and say, oh, but I love you so much, after devaluing you the way that they did. You see, covert narcissists can learn. They learn what they're supposed to do. Like a checkbox, they learn that, there is a normal empathetic behaviors that we're supposed to do, and they can look quite good. They're quite capable of looking like a great person. But they leave you, the one dealing with them on daily life, a total emotional disaster. And you know the difference. You feel the pain of the emptiness that's behind that facade. This is a narcissism that is impossible to explain. When you are dealing with a covert narcissist, it is different than dealing with someone who is narcissistic. You need to learn about covert narcissism because it's different. They project an image to the world that they are good people. They behave yet in subtly abusive ways. This is what leaves you doubting yourself, feeling alone and isolated. The solution? The solution is about having the chance to talk with others who get it. It's about breaking the isolation that you are living. The solution is about healing from this trauma. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism Podcast with your host, Renee Swanson. Be sure to check out our website at www.covertnarcissism.com. There you will find many resources just for you to help you on this journey. You can also reach out to me by email at Renee, RENEE, at cnglifecoaching.com. Those letters are CNG, as in Covert Narcissism Group. I do look forward to hearing from you. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. The information provided by Renee Swanson and the Covert Narcissism Podcast is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes and not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. It does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and information provided.